experience. That happens.
Sounds great.
How are things with you? How are things with you?
How are you, sir? She's on my friends. Oh, sorry. First page.
Sir.
I could not do it. You might take your seat now, there's your mic, so that way.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. Thanks, Judge. Wayne.
For Monday, June 21st. Couple things I want to go over. What the law says, when a child is brought to our detention facility, you must see a judge within 2 business days. And the judge has to make a decision whether to keep you in custody or release you. So This decision is based upon, well, first of all, based on the report that police gave us, that there's probable cause that an offense was committed. Now, probable cause is a legal term, and what it means is, can somebody articulate, can somebody put into words a series of statements that, if they were assumed to be true, would be a violation of our laws. If there is probable cause, then I need to decide whether you should be released or detained. And that, for large part, is detained based on things like whether you're a danger to yourself, whether you're a danger to others if I was to release you, if you're likely not to appear in court, if you've previously been adjudicated for a felony level offense, whether there's adequate supervision at home. These are just some of the factors I must consider. And then I'll decide whether to keep you or release you. If I release you, there can be all kinds of conditions like drug test, electronic monitoring, house arrest, living with one parent, living with another parent, living with anybody but your parents. Basically anything at my discretion can be used as a condition of your release. Now, if I do detain you, the law says you must see a judge every 10 days while you're here. And that way you just don't get lost and forgotten about in our system, and we can keep track of you. All right, so I can assure you that this hearing, well, first of all, I'll let you know at this hearing that you do have a right to remain silent. Okay? I encourage you to use that. And I'm saying that because I don't want you to blurt out something that can be used against you. There are district attorneys that are taking notes for this hearing, and I don't want you to put yourself on the spot. Right? So but however, if you give up your right to remain silent, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Furthermore, I want to let you know that you do have the right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, we will provide one for you. Finally, I do want to say that I am certain there will be information that I do not have at this hearing that is very important for your case. Now, if you have such information, this is not the time to blurt it out. This is not your trial. This is not, I don't have to find anything beyond a reasonable doubt. Again, I just have to find probable cause. Now, if you do have information that will be helpful, then that is something that you need to tell your attorney about. Your attorney can find the appropriate time to use that. I guarantee each of you will be entitled to a trial or a trial by jury if you choose to do so, but that's at a later date. That is not today. Today is simply about detaining you or releasing you. Now, parents, the same goes for you. I am certain there's information that you have about your child that is absolutely relevant and critical to your child's case, but this is not the time. This is not a trial. This is simply about detention. It's a detention hearing about detaining your child or releasing your child. I do see a number of people in this courtroom with masks on. I will let you know masks are optional. If you'd like to take it off, you can take it off. If you'll leave it on, you can leave it on. It's just up to you. And then earlier, before we started, I did hear a phone ring. Please make sure your phones are turned off, not on vibrate, but they need to be off while you're in this hearing. If they do go off and set up, disturb the proceedings, the bailiff will take up your phone and inform you how to return it later on. All right, so let's go ahead and start with Josiah Smith. Thank you. You guys are 15 years old, and this is now a 10-day hearing. You're back in January, Judge Porter adjudicated delinquent for deadly conduct by discharge of firearm, and you're placed on probation until you're 18. And yet you placement at Canyon State Academy in Arizona. You're supposed to continue with school, and in February you went to Arizona at Canyon State, and you struggled there, and you did not make progress in making better choices. You had several conflicts with peers, fights, AWOL, threatened to go AWOL, forced by gang-related activity, disrespecting staff, not following staff instructions, refusing to attend school. So eventually you were unsuccessfully discharged. And then within 2 weeks, you assaulted a peer, which was captured on camera, vandalizing a classroom with a peer. So they discharged you from here, so you were brought here, and they did not recommend you be placed in the community on probation. Okay, so we're kind of looking for placement. Is that going anywhere?
Well, Ms. Morel is on staff with Supervisor Shahan, and at this time, they haven't found a placement yet. They're still putting out requests. So
How long have they been looking?
they started the request on 6/5.
Okay, so we're 2 weeks in, and they still haven't found anybody. All right, so he's level 1 outstanding since yesterday. How far did he drop down?
Since he came in, he's been on level 1. Yeah, that was level 1 acceptable on level 1.
When is this set next? Do you know the court?
As this time, I haven't seen the court date of the yet.
Stephanie, do you know? Okay, let's go ahead and set it. I mean, Mr. Youngblood, well, first of all, Mr. Jackias, I'm going to go ahead and detain you. I'm glad you're level 1, but placement was really the last step, especially if your conduct's involving a firearm or discharge of a firearm. Do we have a parent here?
Yes,
Hello, Mom. Okay. All right. So, are you able to at least talk and visit with your son while he's here?
Yes, I go
Okay.
on Fridays and Sundays.
Oh, outstanding. I'm so glad we've opened up the visitation again. All right. So at this point, I'm deeply concerned about the safety of the community, since it seems like he's in no better position than when we set it to placement and he was adjudicated. But I'm not sure. I'm really not sure we are trying to. I mean, there's no obligation to try every single placement out there. I think we just need to have a hearing and decide. Yes, Mr. Youngblood.
The reason it wasn't set is because the court ordered that it not be set while you're looking for a placement. I understand that we can't wait forever.
Right.
There has been some changes in him
Okay.
since he got here. He listened to you the first time you talked with him. He's listened to me. You'll notice his respect today, which is different than the first day you talked to him.
Right.
And I believe his mom has changed her position, which used to be that she did not want him home. She was afraid he would run away. It would be all right for him to be at home on an electronic monitor, which is what he has asked me to ask.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not comfortable with that yet, guys, especially with the fact that you're unsuccessfully discharged from Kansas State. That's a program that I really believe in. It's a good program over there. So at this point, I'm not going to release you. My concern is whether we should do a list replacement. Now, as far as deferring, waiting for a motion modified, was that by me or one of the associate attorneys?
You simply said to the coordinator, because the probation officer had said they hadn't started looking yet,
Okay.
don't set it while they look. You didn't say forever. I
Okay. Yeah.
took you to mean for a few weeks.
Sure. Yeah. So Stephanie, let's set this out for at least 2 weeks. So that gives a full month of looking. And if there's nothing there, nothing we're confident about, then I think that, I mean, it is what it is.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I want to give you a fair shake. I always have, but you got to do your part too. I can't do everything for you. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr.
I'll
Wood.
tell Judge Wolf your regards.
Give him my regards. He's a good man. All right, Cabello. Mr. Cabello, you've never been here before. So on Friday, Forward PD brought you in. They're saying about 12:30 in the morning, they were dispatched to a robbery call at a residence. When they got there, they said 3 male victims said they went to abandoned buildings known as Midget Town over on Yuma Street, right down the street, to smoke weed. The police said when they got there, they noticed a Hispanic male, 3 black males next to a gold Honda Accord, who asked the victims if they wanted to smoke weed inside the abandoned buildings. Police said after all the parties entered the building, a victim reported the Hispanic male pulled out handguns, something similar to a Glock, pointed at the victim and said, "Get on the effing ground." Several items were taken: car keys, money, phone. Police said when the suspect left in the gold Honda, the victim's silver Kia and the silver Kia later that day, they revealed the gold Honda was located at a traffic stop for not stopping behind the stop line. So the Hispanic male named Leonardo, who was the only occupant, was ID'd by one of the victims of the Hispanic male's robbery. Okay. All right. Well, you're 16 years old. We have a parent here? Do you speak English?
No.
No? Okay. Okay. You told mom what's going on?
Yeah.
All right. Leonardo, are you an American citizen?
Yeah.
You were born here? Okay, good. All right, so Leonardo, this is the first time we've met. I'm going to go and let you know that I have this rule that whenever a child's brought in here with a gun charge, that I always detain them. Okay, that's just the way it is. I feel like children have getting guns, but children, I don't think children should have guns unsupervised. And so because of that, I feel like you're a danger to yourself as well as the community. I'm going to go into danger. All right, thank you. Marcus. Yes, please. Thank you. Marcus, you've never been here before. You are 15 years old. See, on Friday, before the PD was dispatched with domestic, they met with you, said you came home with your older sister from the pool. So, do we have family here? Parents? Grandmother? Okay. From the pool, start arguing with grandfather in the front lawn. Is that grandfather?
No, he's
No,
not.
he's not here. Okay. Marcus picked up a brick, and the grandfather went inside the house, to which Marcus threw the brick through the glass screen door, trying to hit his grandfather. He had to cut it on his hand with the glass. And also, the sister stepped out of her vehicle and fired 2 shots at the house before driving away. Did the sister pick up an adult case? Do we know?
I filed charges on it, they just haven't found it.
Oh, they haven't found her
They
yet.
haven't
Okay.
found it yet.
All right. So does Marcus live with you, Grandma?
Yeah,
Could you stand up, please? No, thank you. So he does live with you. Where's Mom and Dad?
I've been having custody of him since he was 3 months.
Okay. Okay. All right. Was this out of a CPS case? No.
Oh, yeah, CPS when I got custody of him, yeah.
At the beginning. Okay. So Mom and Dad are not in the picture right now? All right, if that happens.
I don't even know his father, he never met.
Okay. Well, thank you for stepping up, Grandma. That's not your job, but I'm glad you did. All right, well, what was the argument about?
I don't know, because like I told Marcus was home to take his finals, because he had been staying with my daughter. Because if my husband had been getting along, Marcus was home for 4 days to take his finals. I don't know why all this happened. He was there to take his finals. He was going back to my daughter's house, and then his uncle here was going to pick him up and take him to Oklahoma for the summer. I don't know why this happened. I really don't, because he's never been in any trouble. He's an AP honor roll student, you know. I don't know why.
Did he finish his finals?
He's supposed to be taking his finals now.
Supposed to be right now.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I guess your uncle?
Yes,
Yeah.
I know, Ron.
All right, so you're from Oklahoma? Is that
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City? Okay. How old is his sister?
What, 19, 20,
Does
19?
she live with you?
Oh, no, she's not even allowed at my house. She wasn't even supposed to be there to start with. Because she's trouble,
Evidently.
very much so.
All right, well, Uncle, well, you're here, so you drove down from OKC.
Yes,
I'm assuming you did that because you're interested in having Marcus stay with you.
I am here.
Yes,
Okay.
and I would prefer that by him working for the police department, that'd be a good place for him.
Okay. So then my question then, Uncle, is like, I guess you're familiar with Marcus?
I am.
All right. And this is something that you're comfortable with?
Yes.
All right, so here's my concern. I'm okay with the idea of, he has no history with this, so that's why I'm inclined to release him. There was no gun involved. I don't know what happened with the brick, but my concern is if he goes to the state of Oklahoma, which I'm comfortable with, I don't think he's gonna abscond, but I'm not comfortable with him going back to live with grandma and grandpa until I feel like things are more settled down. So do you understand, Uncle, that this could be a more extended thing than just a summer if the case doesn't get resolved quickly?
Yes, Ron. I'm
That's
prepared for that.
understandable.
Well, I can only hear one person at a time.
I'm prepared for that.
You're prepared for that? Okay. Children in the house?
No.
His house, not yours.
Yeah,
Okay. And you don't feel like this is a danger or a threat to them?
no, he's been at my house before.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go and try it. I need go ahead and release them to you. So in the state of Oklahoma, I'm not really inclined to release them on electronic monitor because there's no enforcement in a different state. So we'll go give it a shot. Now, Uncle, you understand that you're responsible for return back for court settings.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. Ray. Yes. Ray. You were here in 2019 for forging money. And then a week later for criminal mischief. Friday, about 3:30 in the morning, Halton PD did a traffic stop for 49 and 35. When they got there, the car smelled like marijuana. 6 people in the car, 5 juveniles, and you were the backseat passenger. There's a search, including a backpack that you claim to be yours, and there were 25 rounds of Russian 9mm ammo. Next to the center console, there's a Ruger 9mm, which had the similar same grain ammo in it. And therefore you were charged with unlawfully carrying a weapon. Found also marijuana, but no idea where it was in the vehicle. The adult was arrested on outstanding warrants. Another juveniles were released to parents, and the vehicle belonged to one of the juvenile stepfathers. So do we have a parent here for Ray? Hello, so does Ray live with you?
Yes, sir.
All right, so my question is, why was Ray out at 3:30 in the morning?
He went to work. That's what he told me. He's going to work, and I just after work, he don't call me, so he left with the friends, I guess.
Where does he work?
Papa Heights, something.
Popeye Chicken. So when he doesn't come home at night, you don't call him or try and find him?
When I go to get the medicine, and
I understand. Where's mom and dad?
but Mama left it when he was about 4 or 5 years old.
Okay, and
And
dad?
the daddy, he's my son.
Okay.
He passed away about 2 years
Oh,
ago.
no, I'm sorry.
So I'm be taking care of 4 of his kids.
So dad was raising him while he was still alive?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, Ray, I'm gonna let you know, I think you heard earlier, when a child is brought in here with a gun charge, I always detain them at the beginning. I wait and see. I want to make sure it's comfortable to release you into the community. But I generally feel like children with guns unsupervised by adults are a danger to our community. I've got deep concerns about this one. So I'm pretty sure if you were where your grandma told you to be, hanging out with the people your grandma told you to hang out with, and staying away from the people your grandma would want you to stay away from, you and I would never would have met. So meanwhile, we'll go ahead and detain you and we'll see where things go from here. Thank you, Ray. Race, get back over here. Wait a minute, STAR testing was a month ago.
He failed 2 components of it, so that's why we have 2 days of testing.
So can we administer those tests here at our? Okay, no, it's not inside.
Yeah, as long as we contact you.
So mom, is he in Fort Worth ISD? Which school district is he in?
I don't know.
What school does he go to?
I think he's over there and look, taking out.
Eagle Mountain.
Eagle Mountain.
Eagle Mountain.
Okay. Is that something we should be able to do, organize? Okay, yeah, we should be able to do that and get them on the STAR testing, and hopefully you can pass that. All right. Okay. Oh, and I do want to let you know, I should have told the other kids this, but Ray, this is a misdemeanor level offense. You cannot go to TJJD with this, all right? So you could go to placement, there's all kinds of options, but you cannot go to prison over this charge, all right? All right, thank you, Ray. Christopher. Good to see you again.
Sorry about that.
Christopher. You were here December, you're placed on probation for burglary of a vehicle. And in February this year, you ran away. June of this year, you ran away. We gave a drug test when you came here, and you're positive for marijuana while you're on probation. Does Huey, has he been reporting like he's supposed to on probation? I'm sorry.
That's okay. I like her too. Yes, he actually has been reporting when I have scheduled visits with his mom via those 2 meetings.
Okay. Okay.
But then we leave right after.
Oh, so his runaway was check in and then leave.
Exactly.
All right. So, okay, I see this upon arrival. Upon arrival, where? Just to a car? Was there like a call about it?
I was told that the police picked him up in an alleged stolen vehicle. He was the passenger in that. There was another gentleman also in that. So he's only going to get a proof of criminal trespassing is what they
Okay.
filed.
All right, so pick up 2 individuals, Christopher and Julius, is leave inside. Ran the license plate, turned out to a Chevrolet Traverse instead of a pickup. So, officer made contact with Christopher, who's on the front passenger seat, put him in cuffs, asked him to sit on the step next to the stolen vehicle, made contact with the driver, put him in cuffs. Driver said he got the vehicle from a friend named Mike. So, he not want them riding around in town at night on their bikes, so they would use his car. It's generous, even though Roger's not old enough to drive it. And he said several times he didn't know the car was stolen. The key was found on Roger's lap when he was asleep, and they saw a pink bicycle in the bed of the pickup, which Roger said was his. And the bicycle matched the description of a stolen bicycle reported a couple weeks ago. And Roger said he found the bike. And Christopher refused to talk to police, which is fine. As of this year, Mom said that they were evicted because Christopher and his friends disrespected management. Mom tried to make things right, but with the manager, there were too many other incidents. Now they're staying at extended stay, residential. Is Mom here?
Yes.
Hello, Mom. Did you bring his medication with him?
No, sir.
Okay. When's the last time you saw a doctor?
The 30th.
Could you pull down that mask I gave you?
Sure.
Yeah.
The 30th of last month.
Of May?
Yes, sir.
Did the doctor adjust the prescription then?
He's trying to see which one is going to work because the one that he gave him made him sick.
Sure.
So sick or sleepy. So it just had an adverse reaction for it.
Right.
So we're working on it.
Did you know he's smoking weed?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't get it. Why was he out all night? You know?
He was not supposed to. Every time he leaves, I'll go to the bathroom and he'll leave. Or he says he's gonna go, to the car or something, and he's gone. He was not supposed to go, but every time he leaves, I say you do not have permission to leave.
Right.
So he knows, and I don't approve of any of this.
Sure. Yeah, I don't approve either. All right, Christopher, I'm gonna let you know something. If you're currently under prescription for mental health medication, the use of marijuana will interfere with that. You have no sympathy from me if you're smoking weed and your medication makes your stomach hurt or whatever problems, because you're the one that's causing problems with the medication. The doctor can't hit a moving target. The doctor can't give you a prescription that's going to work if you're supplementing it with street drugs. All right. So at this point, we're going to go ahead, Mom, we need the medication because the medication may be fine. It's just his personal marijuana use may be interfering with the drugs that was prescribed to him.
Yes.
So you're gonna be here, hopefully you're not smoking marijuana in our facility. And we'll see how the medication is. If you're not taking the medication, you will never get to level 1 outstanding. If you don't get to level 1 outstanding, you will not get out of here, okay? And this is for criminal trespass, you're just a passenger in a car. I'm not stressing about the charge, I'm stressing the fact that you're on probation and you're sneaking out of the house, because probation is you telling me you're gonna do what you're supposed to do. I'm bothered that you're on probation, disrespecting your mom, because you understand respecting your parents is big on me. I'm stressing out over the fact that you're on probation, you're smoking weed, because you know if you're on probation, you're not supposed to smoke marijuana. And so these are the things that you can show me, behave here, do well, and I want to get you back home, living in a stable environment. But if you're going to disrespect your mom, then we're going to have other issues. I'm not going to let you live with your mom if you're going to disrespect her. I'm not going to let you live with your mother if you're not going to follow her rules. Okay? Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Hunt. Jeremy. Yes, sir. Jeremy, you were placed on probation in March of 2020 for assault and violence. May of 20, you ran away. You've had a couple problems on probations. And then now, in April, CPS had you at an emergency shelter and you ran away. OCOK told us that you were still gone and trying to give us a report. And so on April 26th, we issued a warrant for you for running away. And then while on the run, you had posted pictures to social media of you with guns and drugs. And they were picked up in Arlington and charged with failure to ID as an adult and taken to Tarrant County Jail. You're given time served or released. Now you're transported to Tarrant County Juvenile Center. Now that your adult case is gone. Yes.
Should read that he was, given a year of probation.
He's given a year of probation, okay. So his probation will be over in July, and he's positive for marijuana. So you're on probation, you pick up a new case, you're posting pictures on social media with drugs and guns, and you're smoking weed.
Your Honor, his mom and OCOK are both here today.
Okay, so where's mom and where's those here? Okay, your mom?
Yes, I think
Okay, so what's the conservatorship status of Jeremy?
we have 50/50.
Okay,
It's joint permanent managing
Joint permanent.
between DFPS and the mother.
okay. And what are the underlying issues that he's was at an emergency shelter instead of with mom?
He showed a knife to his little sister,
Okay.
and that's why we had to call CPS for help.
Was there a criminal case filed with that?
Not that I'm aware of, CPS told us what to do. The family violence was against me.
Yeah, but the knife turns into ag assault deadly weapon.
That's, we didn't file the police report when he went to the hospital. When Fort Worth police picked him up, we immediately called CPS. They told us what to do,
Okay,
and that was kind of the end of it.
okay. So what's OCOK's plan?
Currently, right now, we've continued to struggle with him in placement. He gets very aggressive, not only with staff, but anyone that's around him. We currently have, in our temporary housing for children without placement, we currently have around the clock off-duty police officers, largely due to some of the aggressive behaviors we had with him against our staff during the time. We do have a possible placement with Brookhaven out in West Texas for their sex offender program. But that, again, I would have to discuss with Jeremy, and hopefully he'd be willing to go, because I, of course, can't force him into one of our placements, but that is the only placement option we have at this time, and they are still looking.
How do you run away from the emergency shelter?
It's actually a community house that we have. It's not technically an emergency shelter.
Okay,
But he's able to get out the front door very easily. He's left through windows. And then he will sometimes return after he runs for a couple of days, and then he'll have an incident and run again. So he leaves either through the doors or the windows, however he can get out.
problem is one day OCOK, since it's not a government agency, since y'all are a nonprofit, y'all are gonna get sued. And y'all don't have qualified immunity. You just. I mean, it's not my problem. I love OCOK. I just like you guys, so I'm just worried. Well, so what's the plan? I know you're looking, you don't have a place immediately for Jeremy.
If he was released today, he'd go into a temporary setting, likely be at one of our offices, because we do currently have kids in our temporary housing. And with the given issues we've had over the last few months with him, we are becoming more and more concerned about him being with other kids in those housing as well as for our staff. So he likely will go to a setup that we have in one of our offices until we could secure something. But we've been without a long-term placement since November of last year for him.
Okay.
May I say something?
Yes, Mr. Daniels.
Jeremy wanted me to let you know that he has been on EM before, and he said.
Yeah, I'm not releasing money yet. Yeah, not when he runs away while he's on probation. I'm not gonna release money yet. So, and picks up a new case and smokes weed. That ship sailed. Wait, no, he doesn't smoke weed. Yeah, no, he's clean on his drug test. Yeah, runs away from placement and picks up a new case and gets convicted for the new case. So, yeah, one of the conditions, Jeremy, of getting on probation is you don't break the law and you're convicted of the failure to ID. So. Well, so how much time do you want? I'll hold Jeremy for a little bit, but I need a realistic time frame.
The most recent information I've gotten is that they wouldn't be able to probably take a placement if we can get him there until sometime next week.
So y'all want me to hold him for 2 weeks? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, I think that'd be more than enough time.
Mom, are there underlying mental health issues here?
Yes, sir, there are.
Is he getting medication for them?
He was on medication. That was also one of things that he had to be on probation, is to stay on medication, and he will not stay on it.
Okay, did you bring those medications with you?
I don't have them.
OCOK has them?
I don't have them on me, but I can definitely get them and bring them up.
Bring them back. The medications here, you'll have to take this medication as prescribed. Do we know the last time you saw a mental health doctor?
Probably before he ran in April, I
Okay.
would imagine.
So then we need to get him evaluated again because the prescription may have changed
Yes, sir.
based on his needs. So what? Was it MHMR they were seeing?
Since he did do some time at Dallas Behavioral, they have a long-term program that they've recently started for our kids that don't have placements, and that would have been, I believe, the last doctor he saw there, and I think he was released from them in March, and we were in the process of getting everything set up through our temporary housing for him to see the doctor, and I don't believe he saw one since then, so that doctor would have been the one who prescribed those medications.
Then what I'm gonna ask OCOK to do is set up another appointment, a follow-up, so he can visit his doctor, this treating physician, and then y'all will have to pick him up and transport him to the appointment, okay?
Okay.
And then bring him back here, and he's gonna be housed here. And then after that, we'll see how he is on the medication, if he's prescription compliant and he's behaving, that gives me hope. If he's refusing to take his medication or taking it and he's not behaving here, then that tells me other issues as well, all right? Now, Jeremy, I'm going to let you know that you are 17 years old now. The law gives me the discretion of holding you here at Kimbo or in the county jail downtown, right? You staying here is based on your behavior. You're basically gonna earn your keep. If you can maintain level 1 outstanding, then I'm okay with you staying here. But if you drop to level 1 acceptable, then I'll start considering a release of moving you downtown. If you drop to level 2 or 3, I'm just gonna move you downtown. I won't even tell you. I'll just sign an order and have you can wait out your case over there, okay? So this is up to you. Now, if you keep on bouncing between level 1O and level 1A, then I just may give up and send you downtown, okay? Unless you're asking me to go downtown, then I can accommodate that request now.
I'd much rather do that.
We can do that. All right, so it makes it a little more complicated for OCOK, but you don't have to pick up downtown, okay? And then once you do, I'll sign the release order, but you can pick them up and then you can take them, and then you'll have to bring them back here, and then we'll have to send them downtown again.
Okay.
Because we do that take through here. Okay, now Jeremy, this is the deal. I respect you, just treat you like a man. If you're downtown, you decide that you'd rather be a Kimbo, let Mr. Daniels, your probation officer, know, and I'll give you that chance. That if you're here, you can earn your keep, but that's because you're asking me to go downtown at this point, okay? All right, Jeremy, my advice, now you understand, Jeremy, part of the problem with you being downtown is I'm not able to track what your behavior level is. So here, watching your behavior level, that tells me if you're doing well and maybe release you to OCOK. Otherwise, if you're downtown, you're just kind of sitting there. We'll have our 10-day hearings, but I really can't stay on top of things. You may end up staying there because CPS can't find anything for you. You might stay there until your 18th birthday. All right, just let you know that it gives me less information by being in the county jail. So but I want to respect you and tell you where I'm coming from, so you have an informed decision, okay?
Yes, Your Honor, and I appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Jeremy.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Alyssa. Yes, sir. Thank you. So Alyssa, you're 17, you're on probation for assault, bodily injury. You're positive for weed. All right, so Friday, you're referred by JPS on a DMCA. We issued a warrant for you since you ran from home in December. Mom got a call from JPS inquiring from mother about insurance coverage. They told us that you currently had a warrant for you, contacted us, and we contacted GPS and brought you here. You were brought to the hospital by ambulance because of an altered mind state. And social worker said his boyfriend was the only one that contacted the ambulance, but he was nowhere on site. You have extensive runaway history and said you would not stay at your mom's home if I was to release you at your mom's home. Is mom here?
That's a negative, Your Honor. He was unable to get off. I was only able to contact the body after her supervisor requested that she get released 2 or 3 days prior.
Sure, no, I understand. All right, Alyssa, well, given your history of running away and the fact that you end up in a hospital, I'm assuming there was a pot screen with a hospital?
That is correct, Your Honor. She was positive for marijuana, and according to the social worker, I believe there might have been a slight trace of something else. I'm not
Okay.
sure that's the details.
Okay. All right, well, decisions have consequences. So, all right, when you're on probation, let's say you're telling me that you follow the rules, be where you're supposed to be. When you run away and take street drugs while you're on probation, you just kind of put me in a situation where there's not a whole lot I can do, right? If I was to release you, have to be in a position where, well, I feel like you're safe, even though for criminal reason, like criminal law, 17, you can pick an adult case, but according to family law, when you're 17, you're still a child. Okay, did you have a question for me?
I was actually,
Can you pull down the message? It's hard to hear.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
My uncle was actually trying to talk to my mom about getting custody of me because everyone in my family knows that my mom doesn't really want to like deal with me.
Right.
She just sends me away and takes it back. And
Okay.
that's happened since I was like 6 years old.
Okay. All right. So listen, your relationship with your mom may be toxic. Like I recognize that possibility. And so what I'd be confident about is you're just not running away, because if it is toxic, that's when you call Mr. Thomas, be like, hey, I can't leave here because I'm on probation, but I can't stay here because it's killing me, right?
I had contacted him a few times about my dad.
Take your time.
My stepdad would yell at me in front of the kids telling me to get the F out of the house.
Yeah.
He would send everyone down to the living room and tell them that, like, who wants to look like here? Raise your hand if you don't, and everyone would raise their hand. And I know my sister's looking dearly, it's just that they don't want to get in trouble by my stepdad because they get things taken away and they get like punished for doing things that they're doing.
Yeah, sometimes all you can do is set a good example for your little sisters, right? So, yeah, Miss Susan, you can come up with a plan for me. mean, this is a misdemeanor case. This isn't a capital crime, but, you know, I mean, I can't, kids on probation on this court, they can't, you know, run away and take street drugs, and that's just not part of probation, right? So that's my concern, so.
My stepdad actually told me he gets the F out of the house, and that's what I told him before I had left.
Right. And there's a process for things. You can't, you know, Mr. Thomas here, he's an amazing man, but he's not a genie, right? He can't just snap his fingers and make things happen. There's a process to things, and this may be the process. So we'll figure this one out. This was usually is a good attorney, and she knows how I think. I think I'm very consistent. If she can come up with a plan for me, I'm open ears. All right. Okay. Meanwhile, let's keep here. You understand? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Josiah. Yes. Thank you. All right, Josiah. 16 years old, never been here before. Back on Friday, 1 o'clock, Fort PD dispatch was shooting. When they got there, saw a 17-year-old victim, Joshua, on the floor with a gunshot wound to the chest. Transported JPS, pronounced deceased. Victim's brother Cameron told the police that Josiah and Joshua were playing with handguns. The police recovered a .380 and a 9mm. When Josiah pointed one at Joshua, the shot went off. Cameron said that Josiah stated he was sorry and didn't know that was loaded. Josiah left and could not be found. Detectives looked through Joshua's phone pictures. They saw pictures of videos of both Josiah and Joshua playing with handguns. Received a call from Dwayne Houston's office saying that he would not be making a statement to turn himself in on the warrant. I'm assuming Josiah and Joshua are brothers.
Yeah.
They're friends.
From my understanding, they've been best friends since first grade.
Do you have a parent here? You're Josiah's mother? Was this at Joshua's house? Any idea where the guns came from? This is why I have a problem with kids having guns. The big guns here? No. Maybe. Read this report. Anything else for the victims that we know? Mom, have you talked to Joshua's parents? I imagine it's difficult. Okay, well, at this point, I wanted to change you, Josiah. All right. Mostly because it's a gun offense. Just kind of my rule of thumb for that. Right? Now, what I'm curious about is because what it seems to me is just two kids that are friends playing with guns. It's an accident rather than a criminal transaction like that.
If I think
Yes.
you're also touching that, I don't think it's probable cause for intentionally doing
recklessly. Right, so, I mean, the manslaughter would be intentional disregard, but the reasonable expectation of this offense, or the consequence of pointing a gun and pulling the trigger, would qualify for murder, so. As a victim services, I'm very curious how the victims feel about this. You know, I don't know, I'm sure Josiah has been invited to their home many times. I don't know how they feel, but I'm very curious about that.
When I spoke with the reporter this morning, they didn't speak to the relationship of juvenile and victim, but the stepmother did say that she had some concerns if he were to be released.
Okay, I can barely hear you. You're saying that they have concerns that he was to be released?
Yes,
Did they vocalize what the concerns was?
They did not.
Okay, if you can maybe find out and be more specific.
Your Honor, could the state offer something on that?
Yes.
Well, per the detention report, Josiah was at the residence when the incident occurred, but was not when police arrived. And there's no reference to any mention of contacting medical personnel or police.
Right,
So he obviously left the scene of the shooting.
right. No, I understand. Left the scene of the shooting, but the balance is retain counsel and then turn himself in. I'm just trying to balance everything. It's really, yeah, this is tragic. All right, Josiah, so at this point, as I said, I'm going to detain you. Let me see how things go. There's a whole bunch of moving parts in here. I'd be comfortable with releasing you to the community. All right, before I do, just to let you know. So, all right, thank you. Aldo. Although, let's see. So back in November, Fort Worth is dispatched domestic. Your brother had injuries to his face, so he was driving on the road. You got mad because he would not stop at Starbucks. I remember this. So you punched your brother in the face, and then they got into a pulled over. That's as he's driving. He pulled over, got in a fight, and then you threatened to shank him. And went home. And when he got there, at some point, pulled out a silver knife and said, "You're gonna shank your brother for not going to Starbucks." So brother was in fear for his life. Mom intervened, sent the boys to their rooms. Then you started damaging the bedroom door with a tool. When the victim opened the door, you were standing with a monkey wrench in his hand. And you looked like you were gonna lunge at him and hit him with a wrench. He was afraid again, so you were brought here. So you were placed on deferred prosecution for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon on March 10th. And you were supposed to go to TRC residential. You're positive for weed. And on Friday, you were brought in for a warrant for violating EM. On Thursday, between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Did we track the EM where he went?
Yes.
Where'd he go?
One way is he went down to it's like a Texaco and they also have food as well. And then he made it all the way over to Trinity Park. And he was gone for about 2 hours.
Presumably smoking weed. Wait for DPP. Go to TRC for what was the purpose of TRC? For treatment?
Residential drug treatment for,
Yeah. All right, so that's DPP from the DA's office?
yes.
Yeah, I'm not sending it to TRC. Like, I mean, if the DA wants to go and own this one and agree to do something else, but I'm not spending county money on this kid, not a TRC, it's a waste. I mean, he's got caught twice smoking pot while this case is pending, saying he needs treatment. And marijuana is not even, TRC for marijuana doesn't even work. So, I mean, whatever deal, I'll know that you want to work through your attorney, but yeah, I'm not okay with TRC. I think the court still has to prove TRC, even if that's part of the DPP program, right?
It's not a necessary part.
Right.
It was that his continued use was escalating. He had done he was doing outpatient, they wanted him to go to residential.
So at this point, this TRC, the court is not ordering, this is just, like, how is he getting it? The DA is not paying for it.
Oh, no, so it's, the county, it's not MHMR.
Right.
So they can get state funding or through insurance, but it's usually state funding. The county has a contract, it's been a long time. I think they pay for some services, but it's not, I don't know, even know if it's really pinned with a certain individual.
Okay.
It's not through the placement.
Right. So, how is it treated just like any treatment facility? He applied to get in, they accepted him, they accepted him, they're just taking him in? Because the court didn't order him
No.
TRC.
I mean, he was, part of his DPP is probably to do substance abuse treatment. He was doing it through outpatient. And he, yeah, he was supposed to attend and successfully complete alcohol and drug abuse counseling. And so he had started, he was going to intensive outpatient.
Sure. Okay, well, this is what I can do. If the district attorney's office thinks DPP is appropriate, they can do it on their own. So I'm not gonna have anything to do with this one. I think he needs TJJD. So I'm gonna go ahead and release him. Take up a felony or another charge, you'll see me again. Otherwise, if the DA wants to own this one, they can own it. So they'll figure out what to do with you. Yes, yeah. That's a DA DPP, not a court DPP, right? So it's their conditions, whatever Sharon Wilson says is the conditions, that's what it's live up to, but the DA, the separation of powers, like I'm staying in my lane, like I can't tell them how to do their job, but Sharon thought this was appropriate for this, so they can own it. So if he goes down, picks up another fence, keeps on breaking the law, that's on the DA's office, I have nothing to do with it. That's why I'm not holding it, is because, like, I have no reason to hold him. The case is dismissed through DPP. So, I mean, if the DA changed their mind and decided to refile this against you, now you and I will deal with each other. But until then, they took this away from me, which is fine. I mean, that's the law. I'm not upset by it, but I'm not going to hold you for them. Right? Not if they're dismissing the case for DPP. All right. So, thank you, Fred. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, sure. All right, Fred, you're 15. You were here in 2016 for terrorist threat, 2019 for burglary of a vehicle on 6/20. Forward PD was dispatched to AutoZone. Security guard and the individual with a pistol in their waistband coming in and out of the vehicle filled with 3 people. Officers got there. There was detention. Front right passenger was Fred Taylor. A loaded block was found in his area of the vehicle. Taken in custody, and the report doesn't mention anybody else in the vehicle.
Supplemental reporting committee, those vehicles identified in the car.
Okay.
So,
So is that a bandage on the side?
yes, there was an incident last Tuesday, according to Mom, who was shot.
He was shot in the head by mom. His mom here?
Yes.
Who shot him?
We don't hear.
Where was he when he was shot?
Watkins
supposed to be walking to the store.
I'm sorry, can you take down the mask? I can hear you.
He was supposed to be walking to the store. And
Can you pull down the mask? I really like, thank you.
walking to a store,
Just walking down the street and
walking
somebody,
down the street, telling a couple of times.
police report made.
Oh, yeah, there was a police report.
Do you know where this gun allegedly that Fred had, do you know where that came from? Well, at this point, I can detain him mostly, partly I'm afraid, a couple things. One, I'm afraid whoever's trying to shoot him will try and find him again. This may be the safest place for him. Two, if he's going out getting a gun the week after he got shot in the head, then I'm inclined to believe this may be for like protection, where he's going to shoot somebody else. So I'm not comfortable with him out on the streets. It's really for the safety of him, safety for the community, safety for like everyone. So at this point, I'm just going to detain him, but let's see what happens. Hopefully things calm down.
There's also just a medical situation, there's medication that he needs, medication in the RCA is not what he needs.
Okay.
Medication required
Where do we get them?
Mom was able to get them, he was taking the GPS last time
Yes.
before being brought here, but certain medication did not travel with.
Okay, so mom, can you get that medication from JPS? I want to make sure your son is taken care of. You and I both want your son to be safe. We want him to eventually grow up and be a man and have his own family and everything. But I'm afraid if I was to let him go right now, he may not make it that far. Okay? All right, thank you, Mom.
Would you able to, he has a CAT scan.
Yes, we will transport him to all the medical necessary. Okay? So don't slow down the appointments. Don't tell the doctors he's here, like make the appointments and we will transport him to all those things. I want him to get the medical care he needs. Are y'all revoking the DPP?
On the prior people.
Yeah, although,
We just agree with,
okay.
make it fine.
You see where I'm coming from, though, right? Like I can't, like I'm,
That's the normal course. Someone's wanting to file a PPP for if you were referred back
sure.
for an additional filing decision.
I felt awkward holding it. Part of me, like talking that way is to let him understand that he's not, me releasing him isn't a favor. Like I'm not being nice to him. I'm releasing him because I'm trying to stay in my lane, right? It's, in theory, I shouldn't be doing your boss's job and your boss shouldn't be doing my job. There's a lot of that. All right. Who's next? Morgan.
Ms. Hammer.
Okay. Oh, she sure told us. Yes, thank you. And the thing is, I never, like, that kid, it's not personal, it's just, there's all kinds of other things going on. Like he was one of those, he's been frustrated me a long, like, I feel like we're all just wasting our time. So. All right, Morgan, you have never been here before. You're 15 years old. On June 4th, you brought in custody for domestic. Talk to mom. Is mom here?
Yes.
Hello, Mom. Okay, we figured over to school, you're aggressive. Oh, that's right. Hey, F your mom up. When you got there, you got out of the car, said you were gonna fight your mom. Mom tried to de-escalate things. And so there were punches thrown. Brother hit you with a 2-liter bottle to break up the fight. And then it was also previous assault. And so I held you because I was very concerned about your mental health. A psychological eval scheduled for July 15th. Set for June 30th. So I don't think we need to, we can probably take that off. Now she is level 1 outstanding since Thursday. How far did she drop?
To level 3.
Oh, why did she drop to C?
Slow to comply, talking with a permission and engaging in an appropriate conversation.
Okay.
With a growth of 5 or 6.
Yeah, but how do you, those are minors. How do you get up 3C with just those?
That's what I asked the staff and that's what they said. It was not
Like
super
Homer?
following instructions.
Help me out here. Like, those are just minors. Like, how do you drop the 3 confined?
I believe she was secluded, there was like 6 girls secluded for for very inappropriate sexual comments and, cursing out staff, so 6 girls were.
Oh, okay. Mom sounds like your daughter. I hate to say it. Like, can't control her emotions or mouth. Okay. All right, it is what it is. Look, Morgan, if you were level on saying this whole time, like you had not gone through that incident, I'd be inclined to release you because you're showing me that you can behave over an extended period of time. But if you're pushing the edge and getting to the point where you actually have to be confined, well, I mean, that tells me if I release you to mom, we're just gonna have more of the same problem. So at this point, I'm just gonna hold you until the next 10-day hearing. We'll see how it goes and prove to me that I can trust you to go with your mom and not cause problems there. All right? So we'll see you in 10 days, Morgan. Thank you. Mom, thank you for being here. Jaden. Jaden, you're 16, you've been here for 2 weeks now. You were previously on probation for assault bodily injury, which was, you had previously been arrested 4 times for assaults. And then now, she was sick, but her PD was dispatched to domestic, you and 2 other juveniles in the parking lot, and when they were talking with you, 3 other people walked up. 2 victims and a parent. The victim said that she and her girlfriend went to visit somebody in the apartment. You were there. I remember this one. Mom, are you here?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Okay. And so I guess the victim started laughing at you and took off her belt and hit her in the face twice. She tried to hit you, but you hit her in the shoulder area, caused it again. So you grabbed her by the throat, which caused her to stop breathing. Been dating for 2 to 3 months. She said that you hit her almost every time they see each other. So you're arrested for here. Level 1 outstanding since Saturday. Do we know how far you dropped?
You got 2 of 1 acceptable, Your Honor. For disrupting the class and refusing to follow instructions.
Stop doing this. Okay, so why do you drop to level 1 acceptable?
It says disrupting class and refusing to follow instructions.
Okay. Disruptive and refusing to follow instructions. Sounds like Jason. Yes.
The supervisor told me that he almost got into a scuffle with someone that was across the hall from him. I guess the little boy kept agitating him, but Jaden was arguing back and forth with him. But he said once he told Jaden, hey, you're about to be ready to go home, he said Jaden went back into his room and he asked to go to his room on his own and calm himself down. So I've been talking to him and I asked him, I said, what have you learned since you've been here? And he told me, I've learned to listen without speaking. And I've learned that everybody is not out to get me, I guess. Everybody's not out to get me. And from the conversations I've been talking to him every day, I came to visit him. I think that he has learned that jail is not where he wants to be.
Yeah, looks like he's maturing a bit.
Yeah. I was gonna ask the court, I know that if you release him from 8:30 to 12:30 every day, Monday through Thursday, he'll be at Dunbar High School.
I can't go work release.
Oh, not a work release.
No, I mean, that's what.
Oh, okay.
Downtown, but I
But
can't.
he'll be playing football, so I know he'll be at home and he'll be busy for the summertime.
See, part of the problem is you even know about this girlfriend, right?
I knew about the girl, but I didn't know they were dating. That girl, we moved from Bedford 2 years ago, so he had no reason to even be out there. He was supposed to visit his grandmother, and I think he said after I was with my grandmother, I asked him if he was supposed to be doing some work, and I guess the girl called his phone and said, come over here. And his dumb self went.
It is what it is. So Jaden, you're free to make whatever choice you want. You're not free to choose the consequence of your choices. Okay? And that's what life is. We live in a country where you can make bad decisions. But if the decisions are bad enough, then you have other people that decide what the consequences are. That's gonna happen as a kid, it's gonna happen as an adult. So Mom, you're saying you see a change?
Yeah, I do. Cause me and him, we can't even, when he was home before, we couldn't even hold like a 5-minute conversation. And just even talking to him, he's like, I need my mama now. I think he realized I'm the only one you really got.
When does this football start?
Oh, it started today. I spoke with the coach before I got here.
So, what I'm gonna do for now, I'm okay releasing him. But because you weren't where you're supposed to be, I'm gonna release you on electronic monitor. All right. Now, this being said, you have no contact with this girl, no contact with anybody your mom doesn't approve of. So, Mom, I recommend that you keep a pretty tight leash. My thing right now is to make sure that you're showing you respect and courtesy. That's your role right now. Respect your mom and show her courtesy. You'll be fine. You do it your own way, and you're gonna be sitting in that same chair again. Okay? All right, let's try it. Thank you. Sir. Okay. Caleb. The 10-day hearing, you're level 2 outstanding. So, all right. Well, Caleb, if you're level 2, you know I'm not letting you go. I'm going to thank you. We'll see you in 10 days. Thank you.
But maybe just to add to the pending placement of emergency stay hospital. So I haven't been able to get enough consistency with mom and paperwork. So
We haven't been able to,
we'll contact mom. She's been answering my phone calls this past week.
what do we need, Mom? Over the paperwork for consent and things like that? All right, so at this point, Mr. Pearson, you're appointed on this, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. I'm gonna appoint you in a dual role as a guardian ad litem for the child, and that way we can do what's best for Caleb quicker.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Berger. Highest, no, we already did. Justin. Yes, sir. Justin, 15 years old. June 5th, there was a robbery in progress. Victim had been messaging a female on Instagram. They agreed to meet at the park. Victim got to the park, stepped out, saw 4 males walking. Said, let's get him. Victim took off running, tripped. 4 males started to assault him. Covered up, searched his pockets, stole his iPhone, keys, and shoes. 4 males left. Ran to the sports bar to call for police. They were wearing Halloween type masks. Set up a perimeter. 2 males, Justin and an adult, were stopped in one area. The adult with Justin had the victim's debit card, and then Justin gave the wrong first name, and the victim identified him. So they only picked up 2, correct? The other 2, we don't know.
I understand they did pick them all up, Your Honor, and I didn't put that in.
3 adults, 1 juvenile. We have a parent here. Do we know who he was with, the other 3 adults?
No.
Okay. I mean, this is pretty big to go from no history with us to all of a sudden beating and jumping somebody and beating him down, and then having a female evidently set up the lick, right? I mean, this is a high level of sophistication, far more than, I mean, I know he's 15, and I want to treat him like a 15-year-old, but when you're talking about organization to set up a crime, wear masks, so you're trying to conceal your identity to get over to escape responsibility from the crime, then a crime of violence, and then you try and escape or run away. And then on top of it, he's giving a fake name. So he is trying to avoid all responsibility for this. That tells me that, I mean, this is not a normal 15-year-old. This is something that we seriously need. I mean, this is the behavior that we expect from adults to really avoid responsibility. It's a high level of what we call criminal thinking, right? So to go from nothing, no juvenile history, to all of a sudden a high level of criminal thinking. And these are the same factors I consider when I certify a child as an adult, right? I mean, tell me about Justin. He's level 1 outstanding since today. How far did he drop, Mr. Anderson?
No, Your Honor, he dropped, the lowest he ever went was 2 outstanding.
How did he get that? How did he drop to 2?
Well, it's a little bit hard to tell for sure. It looks like he worked his way up to level 1.0 when he first got here, and then he lost some points, he dropped down to level 1A, worked his way back up to 1.0. Then he was talking without permission, slow to comply, so he dropped to 1A again. And then he dropped to 2 acceptable because he was staring at the female pod and he was told not to. And then that's when he dropped to level 2, worked his way back up to level 1. And he's on 1.0 now as of today.
Mom, are y'all still together or
No.
separate? Okay, but co-parenting, good. So have y'all been able to talk to Justin?
Yes, I've been to visit and he calls.
Okay, how are those going?
It's going good. He's learned his lesson. I think this place scared him straight.
Dad, your thoughts?
I need to be able to speak with him, and I'm working on the process of maybe trying to get custody. Not to say custody, but have him in
some possession in that
Yeah,
sense.
I'm working on getting my own place and things like that nature.
I mean, it seems like y'all are co-parenting, well, like you understand.
We cool with each other.
Okay.
You know, I need to speak with him. You know.
Have you been able to visit him here?
I came to visit him. I wanted to come yesterday, but I think his aunt wanted to see him.
Yeah, my sister came yesterday. I was at work.
Okay, so how does that work, Dennis?
So they're only allowed 1 visit per day, and if they don't come at the same time, if one person comes from the family, and the second person comes their turn away.
So how many visits per week are they allowed?
Just the 2 visitation days per week, my understanding.
Oh, that we're doing for now?
Yes.
Okay.
And what you're saying isn't true. Her and I came to visit together and they
Ma'am,
only let her
ma'am,
go in the back.
ma'am. No, stop. This is not your time to talk when you want to talk. This is not your private conference. This is a court hearing.
I understand.
No, I don't think you understand, because if you understood, you would have been complaining to him and talking to him. This is not your chance to complain about JPD. There are JPD staff over there, the administration you can complain to, but you will not come in my courtroom and take over the conversation and complain about what you're unhappy with which is something that I don't even deal with. That's juvenile probation department. That's not the court.
I
Stop!
apologize.
Ma'am, you're excused from these hearings. No, ma'am, you're excused. Please leave. Who is she?
She's my mother.
Okay.
When we came on a Friday, we both came at the same time and they wouldn't let us both back there. They said only one immediate family member was allowed back there. So that's what she was trying to tell you. But when me and his dad came on a Sunday, they let us both back there because we're his parents. So they let us back there together. But when I came with my mom, they would only let me back there. They wouldn't let us both. So she's on his visitation list.
Okay. I'm not, and the thing is, I'm not angry with you. Just because she doesn't have manners doesn't mean you don't, because obviously you're behaving appropriately right now, okay? Just let you know, I'm not holding that against you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I just want to make sure you know. But Mom, Dad, this is where I'm standing with this one, okay? Just because the level of sophistication of this, now, what I can't figure out is how much Kaylin had to do with it, or how much she just was along for the ride. Because there were three adults involved. I don't know the ages. There could have been a 40-year-old man doing it, or they could all have been 17. And so they would have been technically adults and under the law. But because of the seriousness of how much planning went into this, whether it's planning the, the masks, the girl to set up the victim to come up to the park, trying to run away, things like that. And the fact that he's still showing this defiance here, what I want to see in Justin, I'm going to let you know, young man, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a young man who's going to follow the rules because they're the rules. Because when I let you go home, and I will let you eventually go home, is I want you to go to your mom or to your dad or wherever you are, or even grandma's, and that when they tell you, Justin, this is what we got to do, it's not an argument. It's not a fight. It's not defiance. It's not an attitude. It's saying, yes, ma'am, no, sir. Yes, sir, please, thank you. All right? Yes, sir.
That's why I wanted to ask, Mike, if you release me today, can I be on the monitoring basis?
See, the monitor just tells me where you are. Okay, the probation part will come when this case all wraps up. We're not even close to probation. I think you'll get probation, right? I don't know, but I probably will. But the monitor only tells me where you are. It doesn't tell me if you're respecting your parents, okay? And that's what I need to know. And the best way you can show me and prove to me that you're gonna respect your parents is by respecting our detention staff. You don't have to agree with it, but you have to respect the rules because they're rules, okay? That's right.
I'm sorry, Judge, if I may.
Yes.
Your parents is saying he doesn't have a history of being disrespectful.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
That's right. Thank you.
He doesn't have a history of being disrespectful, nor a history of running away. This probably was a plan, and I have to do up onto the discovery, but this probably was a plan created by the older gentleman involved. Mr. Turner is maintaining that, he's remorseful and he's going home to mom if the court would allow, and mom and him have a great relationship. Judge, we ask that you just consider the monitor today. He has a court date on the 30th, Your Honor, and there's a good chance that the case could get wrapped up, but we're asking that you consider the monitor today, Your Honor.
Yeah, and again, I will consider it, but I'm gonna say no. The reason why the monitor just tells me where you are. It doesn't tell me if you're respecting your mom. Part of this is you're out at 1:45 in the morning, right? Which I know your mom wouldn't have let you out at 1:45 in the morning, right? To me, it's telling me there's a high level of you don't care what your mom has to say. You're gonna do what you're gonna do. When you're back here breaking these rules to drop down to 2, you don't care what our detention officers have to say. You're going to do what you're going to do. That's what I'm trying to make sure you understand, that at 15, you can't do that. You can do that when you're 18, and you can have the consequences when you're 18. But right now, you can't do that. If this was like a failed ID without the robbery, you'd be home. I wouldn't be worried about it. The fact that there was such a high level of crime and sophistication and planning, that is what's got me worried. Because now, your bad decisions don't affect just you. It doesn't just waste some police officer's time. Your bad decisions can put people in the hospital or dead. And I don't want to release you until I'm comfortable because how big you went on this one, okay? So I'm not asking you to agree with me, but I'm trying to give you the respect, man to man, of explaining why I'm making this decision. So you understand where I'm coming from, okay? All right. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Okay, so the last one's under 14. Grandma had asked you about that, didn't she? I think she did, somewhere in the hair. It is the ones with purple hair.
The guy gets all the way.
Should go right along with those.
I think I can. There's no. Yeah, I can do that. It has to be racially neutral.
No color.
Like I can't.
You would know that.
So we can go from election. No, we didn't turn off the election. I need to host, so.
Oh. And Judge Kim, only parents and legal guardians can visit